Movie friends, welcome back to the channel, doing another reaction to Dead Meat. We're going to be doing the kill count for Candyman, the original classic 1992 film. Of course, if you like this type of content, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Of course, check out Dead Meat and all of his great content. But you know, definitely check out his content. And of course, if you like this type of content, always be sure to hit the like button. It really didn't lot. We post as often as we can. We keep it retro while we do it, and we love doing it. So let's go ahead and dive into the kill count. I'm kind of curious to hear what his favorite kill and least favorite kill is going to be. I think the kills overall are probably about there's not too many kills in Candyman to my knowledge. I can't remember too well, but like let's go ahead and just dive into this thing. So 3, 2, 1. Now. Okay, here we go.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at my favorite pre-Scream 90s horror film, Candyman, which came out in 1992. Based on a story called The Forbidden by Clive Barker, the beautifully horrific mind that brought us Hellraiser, Candyman is about an urban legend brought to life. Masterfully directed by Bernard Rose, and featuring one of my favorite horror scores ever, composed by Philip Glass, Candyman is a thoughtful and sometimes dreamlike film that never beats you over the head with the message, despite the myriad themes it explores. So in that regard, it's kind of like the opposite of a Purge movie. Although Candyman is about a dude with
easily
a hook for a hand,
one of the most underrated films of all time, if I had to be honest.
Candyman is not the cheesy slasher that this premise may suggest. Instead, it's an ethereal slow burn that becomes darkly romantic in the vein of Phantom of the Opera, as the titular man of myth pursues a grad student, played by Virginia Madsen, with such an intensity and passion, he'll do anything to make her follow him into death. Candyman is the best-known role of prolific actor Tony Todd, whose over 200 credits include the mysterious William Bloodworth from the Final Destination series. He also sat down with me for my favorite interview to date, so make sure you check that out on Crypt TV's Meetup.
That's cool.
We had a great time talking about Thai food and imagining what it'd be like if he were in Rosemary's Baby. Todd would reprise the iconic role for this film's 2 sequels, which eventually do become the cheesy slasher you may have expected, and which we'll be looking at over the next couple of weeks. After all, there's no better time for a bunch of candy than October, right? The sequels will give us more kills and backstory, but before we can get to them, we've got to start where it all began.
I just think the way they handled the first one is so mysterious and so unsettling.
How many kills will we get from the Seaman in Chi-Town? Let's find out and get to them.
Good question. All right, here we go, the kills.
The movie begins with a title card, and some dope-ass music by Philip Glass.
I love it.
Score,
I love
which
it.
used only a piano, an organ, and some haunting choral vocals, goes perfectly with the gothic elegance of the film. To borrow a phrase from Tony Todd, shit, it sounds like the Phantom himself is pounding away at those keys.
Yeah, it does. It's fucking... I didn't realize how similar to Phantom of the Opera this movie really is.
Hell yeah! How about we follow that up with some bees? And a message from the Candyman as to what he's gonna do with that handy hand.
What's blood for, if not for shedding? With my hook for a hand, I'll split you from your groin to your gullet.
What an excellent way to immediately establish this movie's tone. Not sure what's up with the biblical bee swarm over Chicago, though. Grad student Helen
It's still cool to look at.
As a story is told to her about a babysitter in Indiana whose poor judgment wasn't limited to getting naked with greaser Ted Raimi. It also extended to her summoning the hook-handed Candyman by saying his name 5 times in a mirror. That's right, Candyman is summoned by saying his name 5 times, not 3. Common mistake, but 3 is more of a Bloody Mary thing. Even though she has the opportunity to stop after 4, like Raimi there does, this babysitter Clara goes all the way and says his name a 5th time
Sam
by
Raimi.
herself.
I think that's Sam Raimi, not
Candyman.
the other brother.
And then
she turned out the lights.
and died. Yeah, we'll count Clara on the list, even though the veracity of this death is pretty dubious.
I love that
what
shot.
With this being
and the crazy blood coming through the ceiling.
And yeah, I know the student telling the story mentions a baby being killed
I should do
too,
a
but we never
revisiting
saw
to
that
this.
fictional baby to begin with, so it stays off the count. Helen is collecting these urban legends with her friend Bernadette, played by Casey Lemons, who had just in the previous year been in another esteemed horror film, Silence of the Lambs. They're recording these
shit, I
stories
never
as
realized
research
that.
for their thesis project on urban
never
legends
put that together.
at the University of Illinois,
That's so cool.
where Helen's husband Trevor already teaches as a professor. Trevor is played by Xander Berkeley, who you may know as a beleaguered foster father or a cowardice survivor outpost leader, and he's pretty damn friendly with his students, especially the pretty ones like the Stacy chick. Don't shake that homewrecker's hand, Helen. You know what's going on here.
You don't really think.
No, of course not.
Of course, yes, girl. Helen transcribes
It's
her
so
interview
obvious.
about Candyman, which is overheard by a custodian named Henrietta. Henrietta and her friend Kitty tell Helen about a woman named Ruthie Jean, who was recently murdered, ostensibly by Candyman.
She was killed with a hook.
But unlike these working class women, Helen and Bernadette don't believe that Candyman is real. And to prove it to each other, they both say his name in the mirror, although Helen ends up all alone for the 5th recital.
Candyman.
Oh, you chicken!
The next day, the two of them take Helen's red
I wouldn't do
car
it. I don't
to
care if
Cabrini
it's not
Green,
true. I wouldn't
which is
do it.
where Ruthie Jean
Fuck
was
that.
murdered. Although Bernadette is appropriately
Especially when there's
anxious,
so much
Helen is
fucking
determined
people
to
telling
write
you
a
that
kick-ass
it's legit.
thesis and learn why this community is attributing some of its murders to a fictional mythical man. Cabrini Green, a central part of this movie, was a public housing project in Chicago that, in real life, was indeed a site of violent gang activity for many a decade. According to Tony Todd, there were 5 different gang factions operating there while they shot the movie. Production had to pay them off in order to shoot the exterior scenes, and
That's
they even used
freaking
some
crazy.
of them to portray the Cabrini Green residents suspicious of Helen and Bernadette when they arrive. These dudes here are actual gang members, wearing their own clothes to play these parts, although their dialogue was dubbed in later by post-production voice actors known as Loop Group. Apparently, those efforts weren't enough to entirely avoid
I didn't
any
realize those
incidents,
real gang
though,
members.
because Casey Lemons recalls a bullet being found in the production's generator, and producer Alan Pohl says that on their last day of shooting, their camera truck was shot. In the nearly 3 decades
What the fuck?
since
Why?
Candyman was filmed, the area's crime rate
gangs
has
annoy
gone
me.
down,
Sorry,
and the
but
last
they
of
do.
Cabrini Green's high-rises was demolished
They
in
got paid
2011.
off, too.
This kind of brings me to a point that no discussion of Candyman could ever go without. The movie obviously deals with race and came out during a tumultuous time. 1992 was the same year the LA riots happened in the wake of the Rodney King trial. Despite the NAACP giving Bernard Rose their blessing to make it, Candyman receives occasional criticism for its handling of race. After all, although it features a kick-ass black horror villain to join the genre's esteemed pantheon,
One of the best.
it also sometimes falls back on tropes that can be seen as harmful. There's a great special feature on the Blu-ray called Unwrapping Candyman, where authors Tanana Reeve Dew and Stephen Barnes discuss Candyman's complex relationship
typical
with
black
race.
gangsters,
And there are also
gang
countless
members
articles
fucking shooting
and
up shit,
essays on the same
being
subject
dickheads.
available online. I don't have the expertise or experience to talk about that kind of stuff, especially in a kill count, but I encourage you to do further research if you're interested. There's a lot to be learned from this movie. In exterior shots filmed on location, Helen and Bernadette make their way past some residents who immediately presume them to be cops.
Hands up, people! 5-0, coming out the back door! Police!
Helen thinks that
I'd
being
have been
mistaken
embarrassed
as
as fuck.
cops will give them some protection. So with that in mind, and because the rest of the scene was all filmed on a studio set, she feels safe enough to take pictures of everything she finds. Like this Hamlet quote graffitied on the wall, "Sweets to the sweet," and this
sweets
awesome
to the
metal
sweet.
door. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention that this movie actually has quite a few jump scares. I won't be too mean about them, though. They go to the bathroom
They're decent.
where
I mean,
Ruthie Jean
it
was
could be
killed,
bad jump
reportedly
scares.
by Candyman coming out of her mirror. But Helen discovers that behind Ruthie Jean's mirror is another apartment. And although Bernadette warns her against it, she climbs on through to see what's on the
course
other
she does.
side. In this
She gets too
abandoned
deep into
unit,
it. That's
Helen
so
finds
cool.
a kick-ass open-mouth
Yeah,
mural
it's so
of
cool.
Candyman that she just crawled out of. And even just the sight of that thing leaves Helen feeling faint. Maybe have some of that candy there for a little energy boost. Oh, on second thought, maybe don't do that. Since Helen's out of film for her camera,
That's so cool.
she and Bernadette
I love
go
that.
to leave, only to run into a
wanna
resident
get that
named
painted back
Anne-Marie
there.
on their way out. She's the one with the jump scare dog. She's also got a little baby named Anthony, who she's just trying to raise here despite the reputation this building's residents have.
We ain't all like them assholes downstairs, you know?
After bonding with Helen over her baby, Anne-Marie, played by Vanessa A. Williams, opens up and tells
I can't
Helen
wait to see
that
the
when
new film.
Ruthie Jean was murdered, she heard it through the walls. Now she's afraid for herself and her child because they ain't never gonna catch him.
Candyman.
Helen and Bernadette have a smoky dinner with Trevor
Creepy.
and another professor named Philip Purcell. Purcell also studies urban legends and gets excited when he hears that the ladies went to Cabrini Green.
Candyman country.
Turns out this dude has already written a paper
Candyman
on
country.
Candyman, which qualifies him to deliver a lengthy monologue of exposition. As Purcell tells it, Candyman was the son of a slave who was able to raise the young candy boy in polite society thanks to money he made creating a device to mass manufacture shoes. Can you even imagine getting rich from making shoes? What a crazy way to make money, says the guy who counts kills for a living. Candyman took to the canvas and became a painter of portraits of wealthy people's families.
Hey, it works for you.
He and one of his painting subjects,
Someone
a young
needs to do
white
it.
woman, fell in love. And when she became pregnant, her enraged father led a lynch mob that killed Candyman right on the spot where Cabrini Green stands today.
They proceeded to saw off his right hand with a rusty blade.
But wait, there's more! As Helen turns into a film noir character, Purcell continues and says that Candyman's bloody body was smeared with smashed honeycombs, causing a billion bees to stab him straight to death. Helen is mystified and returns to Cabrini Green to take more pictures of the Candyman artwork there. On her way out, Helen goes to see Anne-Marie again, but it doesn't look like anyone's home. Except her jump scare dog, that is. Helen instead tries to talk to this little kid Jake, played by 11-year-old Dewan Guy, although he's not eager to divulge in the dialogue she's looking for.
No, I wouldn't be either.
I
Fuck
can't
that.
say nothing. A Candyman will get me.
She promises to keep their conversation a secret, so Jake agrees to take her outside, past a giant heap of wood he says is for an upcoming bonfire, and up to a small bathroom building. Jake tells Helen that a kid was maimed inside when Candyman castrated him with his hook. Helen, ever the brave skeptic, heads inside the bathroom
And
finds
gets
some
the shit
stinky
kicked out of her
sweets
by a
on the
bunch of
wall.
gang
Fun
members.
fact, the gross excrement there was made of chocolate and ginger biscuits by makeup artist Bob Keane. Helen follows an arrow on the
So
wall
gross.
install to discover a toilet full of bees. Buzz. While she's taking pictures of that pea hive, a man in a trench coat enters. And don't look now, but he's got a hook in his hand. Whoa, and a whole crew? I didn't know Candyman rolled so deep. Helen tries to talk her way out of this situation, but in this case, her luck has finally run out.
I hear you looking for Candyman, bitch. Well, you found him.
Helen is beaten, mostly off screen, and discovered by Jake in the bathroom before the scene cuts away with some excellent
They thought she
comedic
was a
editing.
cop, so they
We're
beat
here
the shit
looking
out
for
of her.
Candyman, bitch.
Step back.
Nope, not
Great
you.
cut there. Probably the funniest moment of the movie. Helen, whose eye is looking real
Jesus
nasty, successfully
Christmas.
picks her assailant out of the lineup. And with her bruised eyewitness testimony, this dude Detective Valento is finally able to put the criminal
hook to
away.
the side of the face.
police are happy about that, since this guy's the one who's been calling himself Candyman and who murdered Ruthie Jean after climbing through her medicine cabinet. With the man behind the moniker arrested, Helen tells Jake that he has nothing left to worry about, because Candyman isn't actually real. He was just a myth being used as a cover story.
Candyman ain't real? No.
A few days later, after Helen gets her camera film back from Bernadette, she has an unexpected visitor in the parking garage.
The real, the real Candyman. Tony Todd's appearance is crazy cool.
Oh snap, it's finally time! Nearly halfway into
has a
this
cool
movie,
voice,
we're
too.
treated to the arrival of the actual motherfucking Candyman.
Helen, I came for you.
Oh, and with that dope-ass trench coat, courtesy of costume
awesome.
designer Leonard Pollock,
He's
there's
so cool.
no way Helen can turn down that proposal. Candyman walks towards her, admonishing her for doubting his existence, and making her cry with nothing more than the power of his voice. Well, and his devilish good looks.
Be my victim.
Not a problem, man. You don't have to ask me twice.
Be my victim.
Yeah, no, I'm all down for it, dude. How could anyone say no to you? I mean, maybe if they've got a major
I could.
bee phobia, then things could get a little
Fuck that.
dodgy, I guess. Helen's reaction to the Candyman was filmed in a pretty unorthodox way. Bernard Rose knew he didn't want Helen Lyle to scream at the sight of him, since that was so cliche and also, according to him, kind of obnoxious.
It's very annoying to watch people screaming. And it's a fucking horrible noise, too.
Instead, he wanted her to be completely transfixed by the Candyman, and to achieve such
It's
an
a really good
enraptured
reaction, and I do
appearance,
think
Rose
you
took
could have made
Virginia
her scared
Madsen to an
without,
actual
make her
hypnotist.
run,
Despite her initial
gasping, heavy
skepticism,
breathing.
it ended up working on her.
The next thing I know, I'm
That works
having
perfectly.
this conversation with the hypnotist, and at some point, I realized that my arm was like this, and I have no conscious memory
Oh,
of
shit.
putting my arm up. And I was like, no, that's super creepy.
That is crazy.
Let's do it again.
Yeah.
And so, for any shot where Madsen looks completely out of it, chances are she was actually hypnotized, since the hypnotist gave Rose a word to use on set whenever they needed Helen to fall under Candyman's spell. It was one of many eccentric things Rose did during production, and it sometimes left Madsen feeling very disoriented.
Once he would start hypnotizing me, I was not very aware of my surroundings. I really couldn't see the crew. I could see the lights, and all the lights became very, very blurry because my pupils would be dilated. And pretty much the only thing I could hear was Bernard.
Eventually,
That's crazy.
after a day of shooting that she was unable to recall in any way, she decided to call it quits on the technique.
By the end
That's
of it,
crazy.
I was
they
like,
actually
you know what? I
hypnotized
can't
her
do it
instead of her
anymore,
actually
Brent.
giving a performance. That
Don't
was her,
come
she
near
was
me with
hypnotized.
that look on your face,
It's
because
real.
I'm not going under.
Helen apparently passes out from Candyman's aura since she wakes up on a bathroom
That's a bit creepy,
floor
though, that they
covered
would
in a
hypnotize
jacket
you.
and
You
lots
know,
of blood.
that's a bit
But
creepy.
don't worry, Helen. It's not your blood. It's just the blood of Anne-Marie's dog over there. Helen stupidly picks up the bloody cleaver.
Yeah,
on the
that was
ground
stupid.
and
Why do they
follows
do that?
Anne-Marie's screams into a bedroom, where she finds her rocking an empty, bloody crib. Anne-Marie sees and attacks Helen, assuming her to have kidnapped baby Anthony. Helen's able to defend herself with that cleaver, but she's looking like quite the aggressor when the police come in and break up the fight. Helen is arrested.
Like, seriously,
and
why would
taken
you
to
pick
the
up that
police
cleaver?
station
I don't
to
know
get
why.
processed by a cop played by Rusty Schwimmer, previously seen on the kill count as both the angry diner owner in Jason Goes to Hell and the sweet secretary of John Gallagher Jr. in the Belko Experiment.
I have not seen the
King of
Belko Experiment.
Cartoons tells Helen that
I need
she's
to.
under arrest for attacking Anne-Marie, killing her dog, and kidnapping her baby. Trevor's not home when she calls him around 3 a.m.,
Nope.
but he does pick her up the next morning and takes her back home where they talk to her lawyer.
Now, they haven't charged you because they think they'll find the body.
Oh, what? The baby body? I know where it is. It's hanging out in the B building. Helen doesn't know that yet, though, so she's
Candyman's
unable
being,
to provide any info that would make her seem
a
less
decent caretaker.
guilty and or crazy. Trevor steps out to pick something up from work. Yeah, okay. And Helen passes the time by drinking, smoking, and looking at a slideshow of the pictures from her camera. In one of them, she sees Candyman. No, not the cool mural of him, the actual motherfucker himself. You sure this is a good time to look into that Candyman portal, Helen? Who knows what could happen?
Shut the thing and
Oh shit, that could happen. That
Yep.
scare was actually a legit one, since Bernard Rose sprung it on Virginia Madsen by surprise.
Still kind of mad about it.
Tony Todd, knowing
That's
it would
awesome,
scare
though.
her, didn't want to participate. And after Rose convinced him to do it anyway, he ended up apologizing profusely to Madsen.
And then, of course, he felt so terrible that I was really scared. But it's all right, Tony.
No,
Helen
it
runs
was
out
for
of
the
her
it was for the
apartment and
good
finds
reason, good
Candyman
good
waiting
timing.
for
You
her
know,
in the
if you're gonna do
hallway.
scare, do it when we're filming.
Be my victim.
She runs back inside her apartment, only to find him there, too,
You know-
standing right behind her. He scolds Helen to the ground for ruining the legend of Candyman.
Your disbelief destroyed the faith of my congregation. Without them, I am nothing.
And to make people believe in him again,
Yeah,
he's
telling
threatening
her
to
that,
kill
oh,
her.
Candyman
Though, on the
is already
bright side,
taken
he does say it'll
into
make
custody.
her immortal. You could do worse on a deal with death. During their negotiation, Bernadette shows up at Helen's apartment.
Poor
She
woman,
hears
doesn't even
Helen
know.
crying and comes in to
Doesn't even
help
know what's
her,
about to
only
happen.
to find Candyman waiting for her behind the door. The actual
That
kill
look is
takes
terrifying.
place off screen, but after Trevor comes home to find Helen with a knife in her hand, we do see Bernadette's body being handled by cops. Helen is
Fucking
arrested for
terrifying.
her best friend's murder, and as she's driven to a psych ward, Candyman talks inside her head and tells her how awesome it is to be a legendary ghost. She should totally try it sometime. Helen is strapped to a bed and left alone,
Tries to turn
which
her
is
into
when
a Candyman.
pays her another visit, floating over her like a beautiful, graceful swan. A candy swan. And now
A
he's
candy
gone,
swan.
hidden under the bed like so many monsters, before the hospital staff injects Helen with some calming drugs. Meanwhile, over in Cabrini Green, baby Anthony is being given some much better treatment. Look, he's got all the honey he could ever want. Helen awakens and is taken to see a
Here's some honey.
psychologist named Dr. Berg, who's got some pretty surprising news for her.
Now, for the past
What a
month.
good guy.
Month?
Yes.
This guy's death is the best
Been
one.
stabilizing you on a heavy dosage
In my
of
opinion.
Thorazine.
Whoa, what?
It's so
He's
fucking
been
brutal.
committed for a full damn turn of the moon already? He plays her a video from the night she was admitted, which shows her yelling at nothing, even though we all saw Candyman planking on her midair.
I don't understand.
Me neither, Helen. Has Candyman been a figment of your imagination all along? I mean,
Afraid
if
not.
he was,
He's
I
about to make an
totally
appearance.
Get it, girl. She asserts her sanity and says she can prove it by calling for Candyman in the mirror. 5 utterances later, she gets to say,
And
I
then
told
he
you
comes.
so, when Candyman's hook emerges from Dr. Burke's torso. This kill is the major difference between this movie's rated R and unrated versions, which you may have been able to tell due to the change in film stock quality.
It's the best kill.
It's weird, though.
It's the
I don't
best
think
kill.
there's anything too ridiculously heinous here. With another kill in
Dude,
this
it's
candy
brutal.
bag,
You can hear the
Candyman
blood and
tells
all
Helen
that.
she's his now, then frees her from the restraints and straight up yeets himself out the window. Fuck, I love that crazy ass shot. I don't even care that you can see the string. As hospital
you can.
staff bangs on the locked door, Helen hops out onto the windowsill and makes her way into the neighboring room, where she knocks out a nurse and robs her of her clothes. Yeah, dude, that's really happening right now. With her scrubby disguise, Helen escapes the hospital and runs wee all the way home, right into a freshly painted apartment.
Yep.
And boy, is that color hideous. Who would have ever chosen that bubblegum trash? Oh, Stacy, that makes sense.
Get out of my home.
Oh man, that girl just straight crumpled. Yo, Trevor,
Yeah,
you
she's
see
like,
that shit?
oh,
Where you at,
psycho.
dog?
What's the matter, sweetie pie? Did you make another little boo-boo?
Haha, no, but you probably just made a little
You
doo-doo.
fucked up.
Helen uses her rage to terrify Trevor and Stacy and tells them that the color they picked is a tragedy. Fuck
It
your
is.
walls.
The biggest
She's angry
tragedy
and
in the
threatening,
movie.
only for a minute though, before she realizes just how screwed she is thanks to Candyman's gaslighting.
It's over.
Yeah, pretty much, Helen. Ain't no one or nothing left for you in this city.
All you have left is my desire for you.
Well, except that.
That's
At least
fucked.
you still have that. She returns to Cabrini Green and enters the abandoned murder
Look for the
apartment
baby.
so she can climb back through the bathroom mirror and see what the Candyman has waiting for her. Ooh, some candles. That's nice. Oh, and a hook. Probably could have guessed that. She climbs up to another floor and finds herself in Candyman's lair, a pad with high ceilings and exposed I-beams that was created by production designer Jane Ann Stewart. Inside this lair, filled
Kind of
with
makes you think
church-like
if the guy
murals
who's
of
going
our
around
favorite
pretending to be
B-boy
Candyman
done by
was actually
graffiti
told by
artist Kelly
Candyman
Deco,
to
Helen
help spread his
strangely
name.
finds the Candyman
Makes you think.
taking a little snooze. Wait, isn't that guy a ghost? Do ghosts need to sleep? What do ghosts even dream of? Haunted sheep? She goes to hook
death.
herself a big one, but he wakes up right as she sticks him in the neck. And that ain't about to stop the Candyman. Not when he's so
He's scary,
excited
man.
about Helen coming to visit him, even if it is mostly for the sake of baby Anthony.
Surrender to me now, and he shall be unharmed.
They have a romantic spin around, which originally lasted a lot longer and included Helen declaring her love for the Candyman. But apparently the studio
I
made
feel like-
them cut it because of concerns over interracial romance.
It took 2 minutes out
That's
of that
stupid.
scene.
That's kind of
And,
stupid.
We got word that the studio was a little afraid of the interracial context. They were okay with a tall black man covered with bees, but when it came to a kiss or something like that, it was
That's
a little bit
stupid.
too
That's retarded. I don't like
Ever
that.
hear of Loving v Virginia? Helen faints and
What an
Candyman
odd thing
scoops
for.
her up in
I
a
would have felt it would have
tripod
been kind of
stance,
weird
then
since
walks her
she's
across
kind
the
of ruining
room
her
while
life,
reciting
but
some very Clive Barker-esque dialogue.
an interracial
Pain, I
fucking
can assure you,
whatever.
be exquisite.
Okay.
As exquisite
Studios
as the pain
sometimes
is
can be
going to
dumbasses.
He says their deaths are about to be even doper, since afterward they'll be talked about as legends by everyone in their congregation. Sounds cool, Candyman, but maybe slow your roll with that hook, huh? What kind of girl do you think Helen is? Maybe the kind of girl who's into bees? In that case, here's a
Oh,
chest
yeah,
full
it's
of
fucked
bees.
up.
And a mouthful of bees.
Those are real
What?
bees, too.
This infamous bee scene was filmed with live bees thanks to bee wrangler Dr. Norman
He
Gary.
got stung
Gary built
several
an
times.
apiary on the roof of the studio so they could use bees that were younger than 24 hours old, since baby bees don't have fully developed stingers and are less likely to sting. That proved very necessary for Virginia Madsen,
Tony
who
Todd for
turns
being
out
a
was
fucking
super
trooper.
allergic to bee venom. And so paramedics were required to stand by on set just in case she got stung. She didn't, thankfully, possibly because Dr. Gary developed a queen bee pheromone. Not only was it used to get the bees to go where they wanted, it also helped placate them.
That's
As
awesome.
for Tony Todd, for the mouth bees, he wore a dental plate built by effects artist Mark Coulier to keep the bees from crawling around too much, although it didn't work 100% of the time.
He said he could feel one of the bees had got behind
No.
the sheet of latex that I put in the mouth, and he could feel it crawling towards the back of his throat as he was delivering the tape.
That's
And then
fucking
it was-
horrible.
When they cut, we just got everything out there, and he was spitting bees out. And Yeah, it was pretty intense.
He did get stung once or twice by the mouth bees.
I guess some of them didn't like being in Tony's mouth.
But most of the 26 or 27 stings he suffered during production of all 3 Candyman films happened on his chest, as the bees reacted negatively to the prosthetic design by Hellraiser effects artist Gary J. Tudyk.
Good job, Gary.
And in case anyone was worried about the well-being of the bees, the ASPCA was on set while they shot this scene, and Dr. Gary cleaned them all up afterwards with a harmless and hilarious bee vacuum. Candyman takes baby Anthony.
Seems like they came out
Helen
alright.
to wake up to a bunch of invisible bees
Crazy,
and a
though.
message
That's
painted
crazy
on
that
the
one
wall.
was crawling in the back of his mouth.
You, Helen. It was always you.
I feel like that statement is up to interpretation, but I've always thought of it as Helen being some sort of spiritual reincarnation of the woman Candyman loved and died for. That, or he's just gaslighting her more. Who knows? She hears baby Anthony cry and follows his wails
Small world,
outside,
isn't it?
where she hears that they're coming from that garbage heap. Another creation of production designer Jane Ann Stewart, who had the city of Chicago truck in a bunch of trash for them to build into a giant heap
awesome.
with safe tunnels in it. The tunnels were necessary since Helen is about to climb inside in an effort to save baby Anthony, using that hook to help hoist her up the hill. Inside Cabrini Green, Jakey awakies and looks out the window to see a hook descend into the trash heap.
He's here.
So while Helen inches her way closer to the baby
and then they
she's
all come out trying to kill him.
Jake, thinking Candyman's inside the trash heap, enlists some other Cabrini Green residents to douse it all in gasoline while more amazing Philip Glass music plays.
I'm coming.
The music is crazy. Yeah.
Right as she reaches the baby, they light the torches up so they can burn them. They light the heap ablaze and Candyman grabs Helen from behind, intending to hold her captive long enough for all of them to burn together and become a legendary ghost family.
Our bones will soon be ashes, and we shall never be separated again.
Helen breaks free of Candyman's power
by stabbing
grabbing
him.
a flaming stake and stabbing him in the bee chest with it. While he thrashes around angrily, she crawls away with the baby, and although a falling beam lights her on fire
Poor
on the
woman.
way out, she does manage to escape against Candyman's wishes.
Back to me!
See, I would, but, I've got to get my hair fire put out. You understand, right? Helen and her weird melty head prosthetic are able to get the baby to Anne-Marie as Candyman succumbs to the flames. And yes, I know he's a ghost who already died before, but this seems like another kind of death for him. I mean, the dude turned into a bunch of fire bees right there, and
That's
there's
pretty
clearly
cool.
a charred body left in his place. That's gotta count for something, right? But Candyman isn't the only
crazy.
victim of this fire.
You don't know what he
Helen
really
succumbs
was.
to her wounds as well, as revealed in a funeral scene that sees her buried. Damn, Trevor, you really about to bring your new boo to your wife's funeral?
Yeah, it's fucked
That's
up.
tacky as fuck. At first, it appears as though Helen's funeral could actually use the attendance padding. But her handful of grievers are joined by a procession of Cabrini Green residents, headed by Anne-Marie carrying baby Anthony, and Jake dressed up looking like a little candy boy. They're there, I think, because they're Helen's congregation now. And as a way of saying thank you for everything she did, Jake drops Candyman's hook into her grave. A denouement mall shows Trevor moping around
crazy.
at home, apparently already bored with his new paramour. Yeah, dude, you should have appreciated Helen while you had her. Now you're stuck with a college student who doesn't know the
I never
first
realized
thing
you could see
about
her,
life safety.
her boobs
Come on,
to the-
Stacy, never cut meat when you're angry. Trevor
He blurted
sobs
out.
Helen's name into the mirror a few times, and although the first one is really hard to hear, he does say her name 5 times. After which, well, you know. Flashing lights warning, by the way, because Helen's jump scare is full of needlessly strobing lights.
Yeah, that was a
Helen,
bit-
the candy woman, kills Trevor with the murder weapon she's inherited, a gnarly bloody hook. And
It's
boy,
cool,
does she
but it's
love
like, that's
doing
hard
it.
to look
Flashing
at.
lights are over now, because all that's left to see here is Trevor's bloody corpse as discovered by Stacy, who very inconveniently has a knife in her hand. The movie ends with credits that play over a new painting hanging up in Cabrini Green, a portrait of Helen as a fire-haired myth. Like Candyman promised, she will now live forever. How many people did
crazy
Candyman
cool.
have be his victim? Let's find out and buzz our way to the
I say the
num-
guy who
What
got
is
the.
it? Was it? No, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah!
That joke was. I knew that joke was gonna happen at some point.
There were 6 victims in Candyman, consisting of 3 women and 3 men. Although one of the women was just in a story being told, and one
Yeah.
of the men was like a ghost or something? I don't know. With a runtime of 99 minutes, that left us
I'd
with
say
a kill on average.
the guy who
of
gets the hook to the back is
16.5
probably the
minutes.
coolest death.
I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Dr. Burke,
Yep, Doctor.
since his kill goes on for the longest
And
and
it's
involves the most visible hookage. Plus, doesn't
gruesome.
hurt that it was followed by that sweet backwards window dive. Dull
It's
machete for
gruesome.
lamest kill will go to Bernadette, because the act itself happens off screen, and the body afterward has some weird looking makeup. And that's it. Candyman came out in 1992, and in my opinion, it doesn't get the respect it deserves, not only as a
No,
good
it
horror
doesn't.
movie, but as a good film in general.
It doesn't,
It's also
and it's a
nice
crime.
to know that it's fondly remembered by seemingly everyone involved.
Making Candyman was one of the best experiences that I had. I'm so proud to have been in it.
Yeah.
Because it was.
And people are going to be going
It's
back
such
and
a
looking
good
at it now a
movie.
lot too,
I
since the
love
new one's coming out.
I'm pretty sure that at this point, Candyman will be in the first 3 lines of my obituary, and I have no problem with that.
We'll look at the first of its 2 sequels next week. But until then, I'm James A. Janice.
Thank you,
This
James.
has been
That
the
was
Kill
awesome.
Count. Thanks a lot for watching this Kill Count.
That was awesome. Actually, I do agree with the number one, the Golden Chainsaw Award, and I do agree that her death was a little bit off screen. It wasn't really too much of a death. You just kind of see the aftermath, which is understandable why it got the worst kill. But yeah, the best kill of the movie was definitely the doctor. How his death was just so gruesome with the blood and the sound effects and the hook in the back. It shows everything, and it's crazy. Let me know down below, guys, what your favorite kill was, what your least favorite kill was, what was your favorite moment in Candyman, what was your favorite Candyman movie. Of course, you know, if you like this type of content, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, share the content if you really enjoy it. Of course, we post as often as we can. We keep it retro while we do it, and we enjoy doing it. So until next time, movie friends, keep it retro, and I'll check you guys out in the next video. Take care.